Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics / Known Classics. This episode number 1208 and Doubleshot number 1102. Excuse me. For this one I'm reviewing basically two of the last three trades that collect Star Wars, from the recent volume they have for the series. Here's basically the first one, the first of two I'm going to review. This is Star Wars, volume, let's see, what volume is this one? I'm not sure what volume it is. This is The Scourging of Shu-Torun, which, believe it or not, this book is the finale for Kieron Gillen's run. Yes, it is the end of his run for Star Wars. Well, overall anyways, because as far as I know, he hasn't done any more Star Wars since then. The story for this one is that Leia, Luke, and Han are going to Shu-Torun to kill their queen and take out like one minor thing as payback for what happened a couple storylines back. Yep. This one collects issues, I believe it's like 62 to 68. Yeah. So, oh yeah, I love these covers. These are so freaking good. Now, the artwork in here is not done by LaRocca. No. The artwork in here, for the most part, for 62, is done by Andrea Barrico. Oh yeah, I forgot. I think it was 67. The rest of the book is done by Angel Uzita. Yep, so they go here and they infiltrate the place. And they use some disguises, use some actors. There's some minor stuff with the Empire in here, but mostly it's Leia getting revenge against the Queen for stabbing her belly in the back. That's the simple gist of it. And at the finale of the story arc, she and the Queen have a one-on-one duel, which Leia wins. And of course, well, the Queen regrets her actions at the very end, and then she dies. Luke doesn't get much to do in this arc at all. As a matter of fact, he does very little. Mostly this whole arc is about Leia. That's the simple gist of it. And that's good, though, the fact that Leia gets a chance to do something where she's a primary force driving an actual story arc. Because a lot of the time in the main Star Wars series, usually it's Han or Luke who drives the storyline, not usually Leia. And for Kieron Gillen to go out like this is actually pretty good in his part. And plus, you even have Darth Vader who shows up in the book. Yes, Darth frickin' Vader, which that is awesome to have him show in the book. Because after all, Kieron Gillen's first exposure to the Star Wars franchise was writing Darth Vader comic book, which was really, really good. Though mostly when he decided to do the storyline involving this queen, involving this woman, mostly it's just a follow-up to his Darth Vader series. That's simple gist of it when it comes to this particular book. But this is actually a pretty good ending to his run, compared to the fact most of his run has been pretty lackluster at best. Yes. Now, my final thoughts on his run was this, is that the first arc he did, The Ash of Jeddah, which is basically his version, his basically what he did as sort of a follow-up to what happened with Jeddah. That was a plan that first shown in Star Wars Rogue One. Yes, I've seen Rogue One in theaters. That was his first thing he did, was doing a historic follow-up with that, which that was good. After that, the book fell apart right after that. It just basically was a lackluster story arc after lackluster story arc. He brought in this character to sort of revitalize the series, and it did work for a bit. I think her portrayal made perfect sense, and then of course, like toward the very end, he probably realized though that the book itself was not doing well critically. I'm sure financially the book was doing fine, enough to keep the book going, but I think in the case of critically, what he probably was worried about, I'm not sure exactly how he felt about this, was that people were not liking what he was writing very much, whereas he very mixed. This is just my theory anyways. He probably was getting a lot of flack for a lot of the stuff he was writing in Star Wars, because a lot of the other books basically were doing a lot better. Like the Darth Vader book, which got revived during the time he was on this book, which got ended after 25 issues. Yes, that was second volume done by Charles Scholl, which I still question Marvel's decision to end the book after 23 issues again. Yeah, but this book kept going and going and going. Though, for my opinion, aside from some of the weak story arcs he had in his run, his biggest weakness was not his writing. Oh no, that wasn't the biggest problem with his run. Throughout most of this run, the biggest problem I personally had with this book during his time was the atrocious artwork. Now, Salvador Roca himself is a good artist. His artwork he did for this series was utter garbage. Like, he made the humans look like cardboard cutouts. Like, it's like he traced from photos. The way he drew the aliens, they look really good. The backgrounds look really good. But the main focus character series look so bad. So freaking bad. Like, I'm not really sure why the heck Marvel allowed LaRocca to stand for so long. He came out with issue 25, and he finally leads around like issue 55. No joke about that. Though, excuse me, one thing I was hoping at the start of last year would happen, and this did happen, was that this book would get better artists in the book. I was not hoping they were going to replace Kieron Gillen, because the guy himself has written some good stuff in the past. Yes, the guy is known for... Some people who have read Marvel in the past decade know him for his really bad Young Avengers series and his very mixedly received run for Iron Man. Yes. But he did kind of recover himself after that with his awesome Darth Vader series. And the start of this book, but it's basically the middle portion of the book, like most of the run, like leading up until he brought in this queen, which I think the reason why this is my personal theory, because the book was not because I think he had no idea what he was doing, so he went back to an old idea he had. Bring back this character. And he probably figured out, okay, I'm going to end my run here with 68, and what am I going to do? I'm going to blaze a glory by killing off a character that I created. But thank God he didn't kill off Dr. Aphra, because I like that character. I know some people don't like Dr. Aphra because it's not due to the fact she's a lesbian. That's not the issue people have with her. I mean, for me, I think she's a cool character. I think she could easily be in the movies if they want to use her. But it all depends upon Disney want to use her. But the way he ended his run here was really good. And I'm definitely looking forward to exactly what comes next for the book. But as for the ending of the book, I'm going to give it roughly a 9 out of 10. It's a good ending to the run. Now, moving on to the second to last of the collect issues from Star Wars. Well, from the previous one for the series, not the current book, the previous one. We have the start of first of two trades to collect Greg Pak's run for the book with Phil Noto on the artwork. Which, yes. When I first heard about this storyline, Rebels and Rogues, I'm like, I'm in. Because Pak has had, like in the case of Kieron Gillen, who's had some history with Star Wars prior to doing this. Now, his history with Star Wars is quite interesting. Well, here's the thing about... Now, Phil Noto, oh yeah, he's got plenty of history with Star Wars. Especially due to the fact that he drew the Poe Dameron series. Well, the first, he drew all the covers. Which, no denying, his covers are fantastic. I personally have never met Phil Noto, but the guy himself is a really good artist. Now, this book contains issues, I think it's like 60... I'm trying to think, I think it's like 60-something. It's like 68 to 72. Yeah. Now, there's about 3 different storylines going in this book. Yes, pretty much like... a lot of the characters from the main series get something to do. Luke goes to one planet, Han go one planet, and this is so hilarious. This kind of reminds me, the way that Greg Pak writes this book is that he brought back the excitement that people missed from Jason Aaron's run for the book. Like, Here's one for you. Chewbacca teaming up with C-3PO. I remember there was a review someone did when he decided to throw an alien upside and think he was freaking Batman, where someone called him Batbaka. Because he was acting like Batman, which I thought was so hilarious. Excuse me. Also, at the end of Gillen's run, I forgot to mention this, he kind of, in a way, laid the groundwork for this run, which that's actually pretty smart of him to do. Where pretty much the next thing to do for the rebellion is to find new base operations. And one of the planets they mentioned is a planet they actually would get as a base for Empire Strikes Back. And fun fact about Pac's run, it takes place just prior to the events of Empire Strikes Back. So, yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. Though they never done a thing in the actual comic book itself where they kind of fill in that gap between New Hope and the start of this series. And they come close to that was the Princess Leia book. Yeah, that was the only thing that actually, in comic-wise, that was depicted happening between the actual movies themselves. Also, for one other thing about Kieron Gillen's run, he did basically resolve a question I think some people may have were thinking about for years. What happened to that old man who was basically giving a speech in the original film, the one who basically was playing like this? I think he was kind of like the field command. He was kind of like the headquarters commander, one who's battling all the strategies and giving the speech and saying, "May the Force be with you." Yeah, I bet someone curious, like, wait, why is this guy not here for Empire Strikes Back? What happened to him? Well, at least the comic explained what happened to him, because the movies never bothered to explain it. What happened to him? He died. He got killed in an explosion. Okay, fine. So, what is Chewbacca and C-3PO's mission? Well, to find a planet, basically, to draw some Imperial Star Destroyers so they can blow it up and take out a small chunk of the rebellion. Well, not the rebellion, the Empire. Luke goes to their planet, which he happens to find a woman who's basically he's on a mission there to look for some other potential base as well. They'll have to find a woman who's basically experienced in the Force, and he want her to teach him. Okay. In the case of Han and Leia, they go to a casino planet. Well, for the most part, it kind of is. And lucky enough that they call him the district advocate. Basically, he's the district attorney at this place. Well, apparently he was Leia's boyfriend. And they mentioned the whole thing about Sheila, the one who was apparently Han's wife, even though she never really was. Well, in the case of this guy really was Leia's boyfriend. And according to him, they never officially broke up. They just she stood him up at basically a ball, and it turned out though something to do with the rebellion stuff going on. And apparently he knows all about the rebellion, so he has no problem with Leia being there. So at least he has a contact there. And by the end, I'd say that the only storylines you can definitely say are wrapped up by the end of by the time we reach issue 72 is just Chewie and Chewbacca storyline. That's mostly wrapped up. That's the only one I can think of that is wrapped up. In the case of Han and Leia story arc, theirs is not wrapped up just yet. I think they wrapped up in the next arc. But in the case of Luke's probably continue leading into Empire Strikes Back. Now, what ranking do I give this particular book? Because it's so good, so well written. When I was rereading this again, because I originally read this when it just came out, like, wow. No wonder why I love Greg Pak's run so much, even though it was so brief. But it was a nice way to end the run that they're like, I think it was like issue 78, I think it was. Yep, it was a pretty short run. Yeah, that's the thing with Pak's run that I did have a slight problem with, was the fact it was really short. Yeah. It was only about 10 issues. I'm like, really? 10? Actually, it was more like, I think it was like 11 or 12, I think it was. Because it ended kind of abruptly. I think it ended like issue like 80, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was 80. So I'm going to give that particular Star Wars book, Rebels and Rogues, a 9.5 out of 10. Fantastic book. Can't wait to review the last book that contains issues in this round. That'll probably come some next month. But my next comic corner, it's going to be two new trades I got recently. One is a Marvel trade. The other, of course, is DC trade. I'll discuss those soon. Okay? So yeah, that's it for Sick of You. I'm hoping to get a chance to do 2 more reviews tonight. One being Naruto Shippuden, the other one being another comment corner. Okay, produce next video. Bye.